Hi everyone, it's Tami at Creative Girl Vintage, and I'd love if you'd hang out with me for a little bit today because I'm going to show you how I made my pixie dust dream catcher. Quickly before we get started, I just wanted to let you guys know I will link all the supplies that I'm using for this project in the description box below this video. And also I just wanted to do a quick shout out. This one of my subscribers, her name is Lorraine, she sent me these, and look at these little stickers, you guys. Ben Franklin's $1. I really look forward to doing something with these, and thank you, Lorraine. That was really thoughtful of you to send those to me. I love them. Okay, so here's the little metal rings that I found, and they came in a variety of sizes. The smallest was, it was like a 3.5, 3 3/4, and I think it went all the way up to like 7.5 inches. So you have a big variety here to choose from. These are for dream catchers or macrame. So I chose the smaller one. It's just a little bit easier to work with for the tutorial, and that's also the one I used for our sample dream catcher too. So starting out of the way, I used a, this is a twine or a jute that I found around Christmas time at Michael's. It's got a little bit of sparkle to it. And just to get started, well, first of all, I'm just going to cut off like a nice generous piece here. It makes it a little bit easier to twist around instead of trying to take this and push it through there. And I'm just going to take my glue gun and I'm going to start out with a couple little dots, give it a moment, and then I could always handle it. I love my little glue gun. It's a precision tip. You don't have a lot of glue globbing out. And as you can see, this glue gun has seen a lot of action. I love it. Okay, so I'm just gonna twist this around a little bit, and every inch or so I am going to put another little dot of glue on here to just keep this thing from, you know how when you wrap something and then you like let it go and it just like unravels everywhere? Well, I'm going to try to avoid that today by just gluing kind of as we go. Now I'm using a twine for this. You could use ribbon, cording, lace, fabric strips, you know, whatever it is to cover your hoop. And this is pretty too, just kind of left in the gold color. But I did notice that further on in the project, this being wrapped on here is going to come in handy. Okay, so a little dab of glue all the way around, and we just keep on going. My dream catcher is not really constructed in the traditional sense. It's a bit more whimsical. You know, a true dream catchers made by the Native Americans and the First Nations cultures. They were handmade willow hoops. They were decorated with sacred items, so they could be hung over a bed or a cradle for protection. And there really are some beautiful examples out there. So just take your time and wrap away. Also for a hoop, if you don't have a ring like this, take apart a wooden embroidery hoop. I've used that before. That works great. I'm going to continue just going around and wrapping this, and I will meet you on the other side. Right, I'm finishing up here, wrapping up the ring. I think I'm going to run a little bit short, but I'm not going to worry about it because we're going to put a hanger on this anyway, so that'll cover that right up. little bit of extra glue there just to finish that off. And I'm going to grab just another piece of this jute and fold it in half. Go underneath like so. Put the two ends through. Let me get over there in that little part that I ran out of jute, and then just pull it down. And you've made a little hanger for this, and of course you can just tie it off to whatever length you want, depending on where you want to hang it. You can customize it for yourself. And let's get rid of these ends. Okay, and now that is ready to go. And this is a really good time to use up scraps. Fabric scraps, I have trim, I've got lace scraps here, and I cut these approximately like 12 inches, 14 inches. Nothing's perfect, and so some will be a little bit longer than others, not a big deal. If you got a scrap of fabric and you want a nice straight strip, just take and make a snip for however long you want it and do a rip. Just rip that thing, and you know, you get a perfect little strip here. You're going to get a lot of strings when you do this, and there are projects you may want to leave your strings on, and others you might want to pull them off, so that's like totally up to you. Let me move these really quick before I get completely tangled up in them. Okay, so I'm going to take and just, like we did the hanger, fold this in half and flip it on just like so, and continue to do that, choosing different fabrics and trims and laces as we go around. It's up to you how many pieces you want to put on here. Okay, there's a little space in between, but that's like I kind of save my ribbon for last, and put the ribbon like in between the fabric. And with this wrapped, you might want to kind of move everything into place a little bit where you want it before you tighten it, because this jute does make it a little hard to slide your knot on. Okay, so once again, just going around and flip it under, take my ends and pull them through. Get it in place. Okay, and let me see. Let's grab a piece of this ribbon and slide it in between these two right here. Okay. See, it's already starting to get super pretty. Oh, I got a piece of scrap lace here. Let's put that on there. I've kind of been out of touch a little bit this last couple of weeks. We have recently just, we had a new roof and gutters and some trim work done on our house, and it was about 2.5 weeks of hammering going on over here, and it was really loud, and I just didn't get a lot done in my craft room. It was a little bit distracting, and it would have been some serious background noise too. All right, I got a piece of like a peachy pink here. Let's pop that through. And I appreciate you guys, because, you know, I don't do projects or videos every week, and you guys always wait for me to come back if I'm on a hiatus for a little while, and I totally appreciate that. Let's do this guy right here. Oop, get in there, little loop. Okay. Slide that down a little bit. There we go. Okay. When you have a little trim like this, instead of tying it on, what I'll usually do with that is just glue it on. So this is like a little daisy trim. Cut a little bit of that off. So cute, isn't it? Okay, and maybe a little glue wherever you want it. and just pop it on. Okay, and you know, I can keep going and adding on here. I'm going to make sure one of the pieces of scrap fabric I used was had a nice white background, and that's kind of in the center. I'm going to grab my interlocking stamps, and these are the medium lowercase. And the nice thing about these is you can go this way as well and interlock them this way. Okay, so I have Pixie and Dust. Just get some ink out here. I'm just using the ultra washable black. I tend to use this for everything, even if I'm not doing anything on fabric. All right, let's just grab a little piece of scrap paper here and just do a test run real quick. Okay, make sure we're inked up. And a lot of times I'll get glitter on one of my letters, and you know, it interferes with the stamp. So I like to kind of double check that. Okay, so here we are with a nice white piece of fabric. Pop it on there. Give it a second. Okay, and then let's do the dust. Nice. Okay. All right. So that's kind of cute. You can just rubber stamp your little words or whatever you want to say going down on your little dream catcher here. Okay, so I can probably keep going here and making this fuller, but I think you guys get the idea. Our next step is we need something to catch our dreams. So I've got a scrap of lace here, and any lace will work. I think tulle would even work for this. And I've got a piece of wax paper we're going to use too. So this is my back. I'm going to just flip this over, and I've got the Fabrifix glue out here. And I'm going to go all the way around my ring here on the back. Remember what I was saying about kind of this wrapping your ring, how it kind of helps in the long run. And this is kind of the reason. It's going to make it stick a lot better onto our background lace than just using that metal ring. Okay, so that is covered. Now, because we're gluing down on lace, you know, that's going to seep through to whatever surface is underneath it. So that's the wax paper. I'm going to lay this on here. I'll just kind of push it down a little bit. And this gives you a chance. You can kind of stretch out your lace. Make sure you like what you see back there. And I am going to let this dry. Maybe I'll go empty my dishwasher and do something productive, because this just needs a little time to dry. And what I'm going to do is, like, I would probably let this dry like 5 minutes and then pick it up off of the wax paper and just flip it like this. And I notice it dries a little bit better, a little bit quicker, I should say, when it's face up like this instead of down on that wax paper. But if you leave it there on the wax paper because you maybe want to just let it sit overnight or whatever, that works great too. Okay, so let's let this dry and we'll go on to the finishing touches. All right, so I'm just kind of cutting off some of this excess here. Had a lot of extra lace there, and we're good and dry. So I'm just taking my scissors and just trimming the lace off right around this hoop. And even if you don't get it perfect, it really doesn't matter, because it looks so pretty. Okay, and sometimes I'll get my little tiny scissors if I want to kind of get in there a little bit closer and get something off. But otherwise, I thought this turned out just right. Okay, I had a little bit of extra back here. We'll just take that off. Let's go with these. Just being mindful here so I don't cut one of my pieces of fabric. Okay. All right, now this is ready, and let us talk about these images for a second. OMG. Okay. These came from Pixie Dust Files on Etsy. And this isn't the first time that we've used Pixie Dust beautiful downloads on my channel. And I saw these, my heart absolutely did a cartwheel, and I was so inspired to make something with these gorgeous little fairy paper dolls. There's 16 paper dolls included in the download, 4 butterflies, and some little labels as well. And every one of these little fairy paper dolls was so pretty, I honestly had a hard time deciding which one to choose to do this project. Absolutely beautiful. One of the things I did before I started my fussy cutting is I put these on an old, this is an old dictionary page, the little thin book page, you know, nothing, whatever you got. And the reason I did this is because, especially like with the butterflies, I like them to just kind of be a little three-dimensional. And instead of seeing white paper, you see the old book page, and you can see this from behind as well. So I thought it was a nice little added touch, you know, completely optional. I will take a little bit of stick glue. And as you can see, this is just rough cut out. It's not fussy cutted out. Fussy cutted. Fussy cut out. And I'm just going to glue up the back of this and lay it right here on my dictionary page. And then, as usual, oops, this out of the way. I showed you guys I'll do this. I've did this with cardstock before to make things a little bit thicker. I will set this aside and maybe put a heavy book on it for a while, and just everything will just dry nice and flat. And I would do the same thing with my butterflies too. Okay, set that aside. I do have these cut out just to save a little time. I had someone ask me about fussy cutting, and they were new. And I know that a lot of you guys that watch me over here, some of you are highly advanced, and others are just starting your crafting journey, and others are somewhere in between. So one of the little things, just a little tip on fussy cutting, is get yourself, I like these little cutter bees, get yourself a sharp pair of little pointy scissors. That's kind of a good way to start. When you're trying to use something big like this, it's a little difficult. And another tip that I had was, I like to move my paper more than I move my scissors, if that makes sense. And on this little butterfly, see how it's just kind of, can you see that, how it's sort of ruffly looking? That's not the easiest thing to cut. So I'll just hold my scissors and I will just do this with my paper. And look at the nice, I don't know if you can see that, that nice little ruffly edge I just created simply just by moving my paper more than moving my scissors. I'll even do that to kind of finish up our little butterfly here. Okay, so that's just a little tip. All right, so let's move this over here. If you want, you can grab some of your distress ink and ink up maybe the edges of your butterfly a little bit and her wings a little bit. If you ever have white paper peeking through, this always takes care of that situation. And of course, we like a good vintagey feel over here. Okay, here is our little dream catcher. Now, whatever size that you make your hoop, size your little fairy doll just a little bit bigger. And you can see her head's hitting here, her feet are hitting there, and it just gives her something to hold on to. And it also gives a little dimension away from the back of that lace. So she's sitting up above that lace, which is really pretty. I'll just glue her down with a little bit of hot glue right on some of these touching points right here. Yeah, like I said, this isn't the first time that we've gotten some really good, beautiful downloads from Debrina's shop at Pixie Dust Files. And of course, I have linked that shop below for you. And she always has really good sales too. Okay, just kind of hook her feet down there. All right, so there she is attached down. And as you can see, using that book page, when you see the back of this, you're not looking at white paper. You're looking at a really finished project. The butterflies, oh my gosh, aren't they beautiful? Okay, I like to give them a little fold, a little hot glue on the back, and wherever you want to place them. So pretty, so pretty. Okay, how about one right there? Okay. So sweet. All right, you know what we need? Of course, let's get out a little bit of glitter for this. I'm also going to use my stickles too. So I think a little bit of crystal glitter, little Mod Podge I use for my glitter, and just add a little bit on her wings here. Definitely. It's beautiful. Yeah, it was hard to pick a fairy. Oh, I got to do some more projects. It's just stunning. Okay. And then let's get these stickles out. And I have this one here. It's called Frosted Lace. Okay. And she had some little places on her dress here that could use like a little bit of sparkle here, and even on the butterflies. So maybe a little sparkle on the butterflies. And be sure to set this aside, because if you're like me, I cannot, for some reason, keep my hands out of the stickles. I'll do them, and then I start messing with stuff, and then I'm like smashing down my little dots. All right. There we go. Now that is a sweet little pixie dust dream catcher. I hope you found some inspiration from today's project. If you love crafting, please give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already so you never miss another creative project. I guess this is sweet dreams to all of you. So I will see you soon.